Now the memorial part is a registry of women past and present that have served in the military. So if you know anybody that fits that, who served in the military or who is presently serving, make sure they're registered, because that's good. And future. And this was the brainchild of Brigadier General Wilma Vaught. They have some wonderful exhibits in there. They also have a lot of video interviews of women who took opportunity. Check it out. It is a free museum. As we go past the gates into the cemetery for the Army and the Coast Guard, you won't see the Air Force, because these gates were put in before the Air Force was separately established, which was 1947. Those were put in around World War I. As we head up the hill here, when we get to the top, we'll be crossing over the Custis Walk. If you look down the walk to your right, at the bottom of the hill, the very last stone on the right before the little clearing is Medgar Evers. Now, Evers was a World War II veteran. He got out of the service and he went to college on the GI Bill. Then he applied to law school and he was rejected because he was an African American. And this was after Brown versus the Board of Education became law. So he became an investigator into hate crimes against African Americans. And this made him a target of white supremacists who shot him in his own driveway in 1963. And he was buried here with full honors. As you look out to your right as we come into the cemetery, his story is only one of over 400,000 here in the cemetery. Every one of these stones has a unique story to tell. If you're looking for someone in particular and you want to know if they're here, we have a free app you can download, ANC Explorer. Just type in the last name, tap on it, it'll bring up everyone with that last name, then click the one you want. It'll show you their headstone, it'll give you a detailed map and other information about the cemetery. Now on your right, those are government-issued headstones. These are paid for with American tax dollars. On your left and scattered throughout the cemetery, they're all paid for with private funding. 8 months before John F. Kennedy was assassinated, he came here to panoramic view of Washington, D.C., and he remarked how great the view was, and then he said, I could stay here forever. Well, after he was killed, that conversation was told to Jackie Kennedy, and that's how they chose his gravesite. It sits just below Arlington House, which is going to be on top of the hill to our right as we make this turn. And he has that same panoramic view of Washington, D.C. from the site where he's laid to rest. Now, as we come down the hill here, we're going to be going over the Custis Walk once more. This time, if you look to the left, at the end of the walkway, you'll see a cluster of trees on the right-hand side, and a large sarcophagus tucked in there. That's Captain Robert Todd Lincoln. He was the eldest son of President Abraham Lincoln, and then went on to find names like Oliver Wendell Holmes, Warren Burger, William Rehnquist. And as we come past this large tree here on your right, if you look straight back, you'll see a hedge. In front of the hedge is a black headstone. That's Thurgood Marshall. He was our very first African-American Supreme Court judge. Back. Just beyond this section, you see that long gray wall. That's the gravesite of John F. Kennedy. He is interred there with his wife, Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis, and their 2 small children that were reinterred here, along with the eternal flame that was lit by Jackie Kennedy. You continue down the walkway to the left, you'll come upon the gravesite of Robert Kennedy. He was our Attorney General. Senator Friends were never found when his plane exploded over the English Channel. So this will be our stop for the gravesite of John F. Kennedy, and the back door will be opening as well as the front door, so you can exit from both. And don't forget, if you have gum in your mouth, trash can up front, or find the trash can. All gray memorial on the corner, that's Daniel Chappie James. He was one of the original Tuskegee Airmen, went on to become an instructor to the Tuskegee Airmen that followed behind, and he became our first 4-star African-American general as well. Over on our left, that's Sir John Dill. He was a field marshal to the UK during World War II, stationed and very good friends with General George C. Marshall, as well as President Franklin Roosevelt. So when he passed away, exception to the rule, and now we have 63 that are buried here in Arlington. In section 2 on our right, if you were to use our downloaded app, you'd find 2 5-star admirals. We have Admiral William Halsey and William Leahy, both veterans of World War I and II, and Leahy also fought in the Spanish-American War. Down on our left-hand side, this is our chaplain section. As we go along, if you look to the front of the chaplain memorial stones, the one in the middle dedicated to those chaplains and rabbis that perished in World War I, The other 3 are to the Catholic, Protestant, and Jewish faith, who passed C. Marshall, another 5-star general. He was responsible for the Marshall Plan, which helped revitalize Europe at the end of World War II, won him a Nobel Prize. He's our only Nobel Prize winner here in the cemetery. Just beyond the construction to our front is the front of the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. So if you're going up there to see the changing of the guard, you may want to walk down, because that's where you'll find Matt Urban, the most decorated service member from World War II. Also Joe Louis, the Brown Bomber, famous boxer who was a World War II veteran, and Lee Marvin, who was quite a famous actor, but then was also a Marine during World War II. Now the old guard, the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, is one of the most elite. In order to get on the squad, you have to have almost a perfect military record. You have to be recommended by your commanding officer. And then you have to look a certain way. You have to be a certain height, a certain build. The first woman didn't make it. Now they're so dedicated that there have been 3 occasions when the president himself has called and told them it was too dangerous to guard. We had a huge blizzard, then we had a huge hurricane, and then we had 9/11. And all 3 times they refused presidential orders. They said it was a matter of honor. They would never leave the tomb unguarded. So for the past 73 years, not 1 second of one day or night has that tomb gone unguarded. And this is going to be our stop for the changing of the guard at the...
And watch us where we go, and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer when we lose our way. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe. La luce che tu dai, I pray you'll find your light. Nel cuore resterà, and hold it in our heart. A ricordarci che when stars go out each night, l'eterna stella sei. Nella mia preghiera Give us faith so we'll be safe. Sogniamo un mondo senza più violenza, un mondo di giustizia, di speranza. Ognuno riera, ma non so vicino, simbolo di pace, di fraternità. Forse che ci dà, we ask that life begin, il desiderio che, and watch us from above. Ognuno troppo amore, we hope each soul will find dentro sé, and other soul love. Let this be our prayer. Let this be our prayer. Just like every child, just like every child, I pray you'll be our eyes and watch us where we go, and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer. When we lose our way, lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, to a place where we'll be safe. La luce che tu dai, I pray you'll find your light, nel cuore resterà, and hold it in our heart. A ricordarci che when stars go out each night, l'eterna stella sei. Nella mia preghiera, let this be our prayer. Quanta fede c'è when shadows fill our day. Lead us to a place, guide us with your grace, give us faith so we'll be safe. Sogniamo un mondo senza più violenza, un mondo di giustizia, di speranza. Ognuno riera, ma non so just like every child, just like every child.